Okay. My friends convinced me to put that video in because they heard what I was doing, and I thought it was pretty funny, and I thought it kind of fit because it's in a background with like theater, and that's a main point in the Renaissance. So I did my presentation on gender roles, men, by me. Um, I think there's a lot of things about men that were completely different from today. I want to go through this presentation, which is a lot of pictures. So throughout history, men and women have been assigned, specific roles to which society prescribes standards and qualifications. There are certain tasks that have been traditionally completed by only men, and others that have been assigned to women. So men and women have completely different roles in society. How men and will have this idea that it's supposed to be their job, or that they need to do something, or that they are the only people who are allowed to do it. It's completely different roles. So the way in which society valued men and women differed greatly. Men basically function as the ruling voice over all aspects of society. So in society, there would be men and women, but men would have greater jobs. So men could do a lot more things than women could. They had more freedom. They had more ways of living than women could. Uh, Men were even valued for their ability to classify an object of being beautiful. So they could see something, and apparently, in a man's mind, they would be able to classify it as beautiful, right? Which everyone can do that. Everyone can see something and say, hey, this is beautiful, this is not beautiful. But apparently, in their belief system, men were only able to do that. Women couldn't do that. They couldn't see something as being beautiful. It was very sexist and a tilted way of seeing things. A quote here is that men have, may, taken to commerce or to drink, but as a matter of fact, they took to visible beauty. And then only men had the capacity to differentiate between that which was beautiful and not beautiful, right? So men see something beautiful, women, they have no idea, apparently. So men were seen as like stronger. They could, do martial arts. They were basically only able to do, be able to do like any job. So whatever job they wanted, women were only classified to do certain like very 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 limited. Men had so much freedom; they could go into arts, literature, so forth. This is a so it says here, men is endowed with wit, judgment, and a mind almost divine. So divine minds were given to them. They had amazing wits and like amazing power through their minds that women couldn't, right? So they believed that like men were much smarter, like physically like better is their uh, different belief system. The legal status of men and women in the Elizabethan society or the Renaissance era also had distinct features. While men held almost absolute authority, so men controlled everything. If it was controlled by anything, it would be only men. Women didn't have control over anything, right? So men could control every aspect of life. So anything, any law, any sort of way of living, it was judged and controlled by the way the men lived. The men in their lives, whether their fathers or their husbands, had complete control over all constitutional matters of their lives. Right? This is the same thing as a man, basically ruling over the world, where women had no actual say in what was to be happened in the world. Society was made by men, and that it could only be like that. It was so tilted that men were like so overly powerful that women were completely strawed out. So men and women differed during the Renaissance, one of which is the field of education. So men and women were taught completely differently. Men had much more education than women did, and women were just seen as like unable to obtain knowledge, while men were able to obtain so much knowledge and had so much capable of high learning. right? So they could learn whatever they wanted. They were so smart. They understood everything, um, and they had the understanding. Well, apparently, women couldn't. Many men seem to have regarded the capacity for rational thought as exclusively male. Uh, Women, they assumed, were led only by their passions, right? So men had capacity for rational thought, so they were, quick. They understood the situation and they knew how to control it. Women couldn't, apparently. So their tilted belief system is that men could do something and women couldn't. And then my last quote is, "It is heat which makes man bold and hardy, but the coldness of woman makes her natural fearful and timorous. And since women are weak physically, they must be weak morally and mentally." That's a quote from Camden 18. Uh, so it's seen that back very very Renaissance era, they thought that women were unable, they were weak, they were morally, mentally, and they didn't have capability to do a lot of things. Thank you.